Hello everyone, this is Kai for ItsAMansWorldFTM1. This is week 24, and this week we're talking about sexual appetites. Or I'm talking about sexual appetites. So the question primarily deals with how has your sex drive changed since taking tea? And I'm not taking tea, so my sex drive is the same. But that doesn't mean that my sex drive is a constant. Sex drive has many gears. Let's use the car metaphor. It has a lot of gears, and it's not uncommon for your natural hormone levels or the situation. There's a chemical related to like being in love that might affect your sex drive. I mean, there's stress can affect your sex drive. My sex drive has never been a constant. My sex drive goes from dead to hyperactive. There's really very little middle ground, but when I do have a sex drive, it's pretty potent. But there are periods, sometimes long periods, where I don't have a sex drive at all. I would probably relate this to my proclivity towards depression. When I'm depressed, I often lack a sex drive. Though at times when I'm depressed, my sex drive is a way of sort of overcoming the depression via distraction. It's an addiction, very much like substance abuse or anything else. So for a long period of time, sex was my way of sort of hiding my discomfort, my dysphoria, sort of working around my depression as a way of tuning out. I remember the first time that my sex drive dropped. I was something like 16, 17. I know, right? That's a really young age to know that your sex drive is dropping. But for a few years, my sex drive had been really, really high. And I probably can blame that on being a teenager. And there was a point where, for no reason, my sex drive dropped. I wasn't depressed at the time. I just didn't feel sexual whatsoever. And I was speaking to a friend of mine, and I said, "What's going on? Is it normal? Is it gone forever?" And she was actually trans at the time. She is no longer with us, but she's probably the first trans person that I knew about them being trans that I had met. And she was somewhat of a mentor to me. And she told me, it's natural. Sometimes it comes, sometimes it goes. In the years since, my sex drive has primarily been full blast, pumped up to 11. But there have been times where it goes away. Through most of my 20s, my sex drive was pretty high. I remember one time I had a challenge with someone to see, who could come to completion, if you will, the most in a given period of time. And I think, not counting multiples, I rounded up around 82 times in about 2 hours. So it was a pretty high operating sex drive. Since then, while it was on for many years, it has waned a bit, and it may be related to my hormonal system, which is totally out of whack. For many years, I didn't have menstruation, with years in between. And it's possible that the fact that I didn't have high estrogen levels may have been somehow related to that. Since then, my estrogen levels have risen, sometimes to a dangerous degree, and there's been a great imbalance in that, and that could play possibly a factor in my failing sex drive. At times when I do have it, again, it's very powerful. Multiple times a day or multiple times in one sitting. I don't have a partner, so it's all by myself or over the internet. But I'm hoping that testosterone will maybe not keep me at such a high level, but maybe more consistently interested. I also worry about losing my ability to maintain the stamina, if you will, because I can go for forever with the right partner, 5-6 hours, let's do it. But so I'm worried about losing that. I've heard that the climax while on T, while it's shorter, you don't have as much longevity. When you do have a climax, it's huge, and then there's not really much ability for follow-ups. I don't know. I haven't experienced that. A few months ago, my sex drive was really high. My sex drive is kind of waning right now. It's sort of peaking, you know, every few days. I'm like, now it's time. But most of the time, I'm like, I have other things to worry about. So I'm hoping to get some more consistency rather than super highs and just flats. But I don't know. I don't really have the experience of being on testosterone, and therefore I have no comparison. But even without testosterone, there's shifts. It's not constant. With the right partner, if there's chemistry, then there's usually no problem. But since I don't have a partner, my lack or having of a sex drive is the only person it's affecting really is me, and therefore it's not really that important. Anyway, next week's topic is going to be life changes. I guess I can talk about them in a sort of superficial way about how my life has changed since I came out, but there are no life changes from being on T, and most of the changes that I've had I've already discussed in previous videos, so there's not much really to say as far as that. So maybe I'll combine that with transparenting, which is, I don't have anything. So maybe I'll have a free topic video. I don't know. Sorry for having so many free topics, guys. I swear I'm really interesting. I just not formulaic like this. So that's week 24. Catch you guys next week for something. And keep tuned. Kai out.